As the daughter of immigrants, financial struggles were part of my everyday reality. In high school, I became homeless and had to live in a women's shelter. Thankfully, being an APIA McDonald scholar enabled me to attend college and begin a new chapter in my life. And now, my reality is filled with endless possibilities.
맥도날드는 아시안 아메리칸 학생들을 위해 APIA 스칼렛으로 약 $300만 지원했습니다. 자세한 정보는 apanext.com.
네, 안녕하세요. 맥도날드 2024 APA 넥스트 온라인 칼리지 워크숍에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 저는 이번 워크숍 진행을 맡은 미주중앙일보 박경은입니다. 중앙일보가 주최하는 이번 온라인 워크숍은 맥도날드 APA 넥스트 프로그램의 후원으로 미래를 준비하는 차세대를 위해 다양한 분야의 전문가와 그들의 인사이트를 소개해주고자 마련됐습니다. 맥도날드는 2019년부터 아시아 태평양계 학생들을 지원하기 위해 APIA 스칼러스를 통해 약 $300만 수여해왔습니다. 올해는 시그넷 에듀케이션과 함께하는 대학 입시 세션과 옐로우 체어 컬렉티브의 정신건강 지원 프로그램을 포함한 오프라인 행사가 11월 16일에 에머슨 칼리지 LA 캠퍼스에서 열립니다. 더 자세한 내용은 영상 시청 후 apanext.com에서 확인해 주시기 바랍니다. 그럼 본격적으로 워크숍 인터뷰를 시작하겠습니다. 맥도날드 APA 넥스트가 후원하는 2024 온라인 칼리지 워크숍의 6번째 멘토는 현재 영화 및 드라마 등 다양한 작업물을 제작하고 계신 그레이스 박 감독님입니다. 그레이스 박 감독님을 모셔보겠습니다. Hi, Grace.
Hey, hi, Karen. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. It's our pleasure to have you for today's workshop. Yeah. We are really excited to dive into your journey, challenges you faced, and the insight you can share with our students. Before we start, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Haejin Grace Park. I'm from Korea. I lived in New Zealand just a bit as well throughout my childhood. And I graduated USC Film Production MFA program about 2 years ago. And ever since, I've been working in the film industry here. So.
Thank you for your introduction. So I'm going to pick this question as a first one. So what inspired you to enter the world of filmmaking? So was there any specific moment or experience that led you to decide on becoming a director?
Great question. So I actually always, before becoming a filmmaker, I actually really wanted to become an astronomer. So starting from an age of like 5 when I lived in New Zealand, I used to look up in the night sky, which has a lot of stars with Milky Way. And I actually wanted to tell stories about the universe and tell how magnificent every single one of us and how vast the cosmos is. But then I realized I sucked at physics, so I gave up, and it was kind of worrisome for a few years. But then I realized I can do something similar with filmmaking as well. So with film, I could share a little escape for our busy adults, making them look up into the night sky. So I started diving into filmmaking, and ever since the past 13 years, I've been a filmmaker.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story. The next question we're going to be focused on challenges in the film industry. So as a female Asian working in the film industry, I imagine you faced some unique challenges along the way. So could you tell us about the biggest challenges you've encountered and what helped you overcome it?
Definitely. I feel like I had a few challenges, both in Korea and LA, like in Hollywood, as a Asian filmmaker, because often I hate this stereotype, but Asian females are kind of viewed as very naive or too nice or perhaps not capable of things. For an example, one thing I went through was that, and I'm sure a lot of people in the industry has experienced this as well. But when you give up, like when you give a little idea, like you think it's brilliant, but it gets ignored. But then another like male colleague says it, and people treat that it's like a brilliant idea. So, or like moments like you do the exact same creative work and you're in the same position, but the male colleague gets paid more. So those are some challenges, I guess, that kind of is general, I feel like. But similarly in film industry, at least for me, my challenges was that because I'm a filmmaker that ultimately wants to make sci-fi, fantasy, and action films, and a lot of people actually like laughed at me for like, I don't think you can do it. Just try to do something easier, or like you should just do something less challenging. So when I said like I want to be the next Christopher Nolan, and yeah, it was kind of people didn't believe me and didn't really give me opportunities to do that. Yeah. And how I guess how I overcame this was realizing that before anyone believed in me, I had to believe in myself that I'm capable or even enough to make a great film. So I would always tell myself, Grace, people might say, go the easy route, marry a nice rich man, but I know you can do it and you'll make great movies that gives good influence to people. You're gonna do it, and period. So yeah, I think I had to just remind myself and not be afraid. And there's no reason I won't be good enough compared to other people. And yeah, and I recently got to work with a really cool people, like with a lot of stunt scenes and action VFX work, and I think I did a pretty good job. So yeah, it's all doable. Don't believe in what other people say.
Yeah, thank you. I really like the part you mentioned, like before anyone believed me, I had to believe in myself. It's a crucial mindset. And let's move on to the next two questions. So I know diversity is expanding in the film industry these days, but there's always more to be done, right?
Mm.
So what changes do you think are necessary for more female Asian creators to find success in the industry?
I think, I mean, obviously the easiest thing to see is representation, both in front of camera and behind the camera. And I've been on a few sets that there was a trend in diversity at that time. So there's like more representation in front of the camera, but not so much behind the camera, since some group of people really liked working with certain group of people. And in some TV shows, usually like it used to be, like Asian female were very much limited to either supporting roles, but I do think it has been recently changing, like Beef, seeing our people like Asian females and Asian male just living their lives rather than it having to the story having to rotate totally around being an Asian woman. I think that's really pretty. They just living their life rather than yeah, it's focused on like the identity only. Yeah. And a few other things, like I do think getting in the industry is one thing, but maintaining it is another thing. So one I guess this is more about like how to support female filmmakers, but a previous show I worked on had like pads and tampons at the crafty table, which I really, really appreciated it. They're not like hiding it. It's just something that is needed, but often neglected. So I really appreciated things like that. And lastly, I wanted to kind of share my kind of hope in the future as I proceed as a filmmaker. I wanted to personally portray more stronger and achieving Asian female characters rather than them being sexualized or fetishized. So
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And the next question is, your films often touch on social issues and represent minority voices. So what message do you hope to convey through your storytelling? And do you have a special message for Asian community?
I guess I hope my films can be a reminder to people that artists who we treat people that are artists could be also one of us as well. So telling stories of people that doesn't have strength or opportunity to tell, like yeah. So far I talked about housing crisis and about comfort women during Japanese colonial rules and about the environment, the global warming and environment crisis as well. So I'm not still sure like what I can do with this storytelling, but I just want to remind people saying that guys, we're wasting a lot of things, and I'm not sure if you know where these trash are heading, but it's all going somewhere, and there are soils that's being ruined, and it might actually affect us. So it's more like a reminder, and to my goal is to dive into people's or subject stories that we think and treat as artists, and I really want to like humanize them so we can actually feel what they feel. Yeah, and a little message to the community, Asian filmmaking community. Honestly, I'm just in my 13th year of filmmaking, so it's not so short in the industry, but not too long as well. But I do think the direction we're taking is pretty cool. Like, thanks to the filmmakers who went before us, I think we do have like way better Asian representation. So I feel like that it's just not the entertainment and representation that's like living on the screen, but it actually truly changed my life, how other people treat me, and yeah, how my life's like borders expanded. So I hope I can do the same as well for the community.
Yeah, thank you for the message for Asian community. And the next question, you've gained invaluable experience in the film industry. Are there any specific lessons from your moments of both success and failure that you think could benefit students?
Mm. I guess a little story is my success story was when I really tuned into what I really like to make, not what someone else would like to see and what you think is trendy. Trends change, so I'd say continue doing what you like to do and what seems true to you. That way, if you do get extra attention, it's great, but if you don't do, it's meaningful for you, and it still brings some kind of growth within you. And like a failing moment was when I was kind of full of myself. So I had a little successful set where everyone told me, Grace, you're my favorite director. You're a great director. And then I thought like, oh, maybe I am. And I got a bit arrogant. So I kind of slowed down on trusting my team members, and I tried to do everything myself, which was a huge mistake. So I try to make sure I trust my team after that, and it's kind of like a sport. It's like soccer. It's team play. No one great person can make a great movie. It's all team effort.
As the daughter of immigrants, financial struggles were part of my everyday reality. In high school, I became homeless and had to live in a women's shelter. Thankfully, being an APIA McDonald Scholar enabled me to attend college and begin a new chapter in my life. And now, my reality is filled with endless possibilities.
맥도날드는 아시안 아메리칸 학생들을 위해 APIA 스칼렛으로 약 300만 달러를 지원했습니다. 자세한 정보는 apanext.com.
Okay, the next question is, many of our viewers are students with big dreams. So what mindset and first steps do you recommend for the young generation who want to achieve their goals?
It's a great question. I think writing would be the first step. Writing doesn't really require a lot. You can just write on your notepad, or I mean, there's formats like Final Draft softwares that you could use, but you could just literally start from like journaling. And writing what you know and what you really feel strongly about is, I think, is like the first step. It's just, let's say, if you had a fight with your mom, and it's a very complicated feeling. It's not just a sadness, or it's a mix of like love and hatred, guilt and want, and it's kind of everything. So writing about things and events you feel very strongly about is a great step to kind of go into and analyze the next step of filmmaking. And the second tip, and the second tip would be watching a lot of films. So my mentor back in Korea told me to watch the same movie 3 times. And I'm not sure if I'm recalling the order correctly, but when you watch it the first time, you just enjoy as how the filmmaker intended. And when you watch the second time, you think about the story. And the third time, you analyze the edit, the color, and more the technical stuff. So there will be things that you will see that you didn't see in the first time you watched. So you will be learning about filmmaking. And regarding the question you asked about tips on building a voice and presence in mainstream, a recent movie I really loved is, I don't know if you guys watched it, but Didi is directed by Sean Wang. You'll see that it's personal and it's about his own story, but it does give a lot of millennials something to feel nostalgic about. It's like the MySpace, camcorders, skateboards, and rock bands. So people say that someone who is interesting is someone who is interested in things. So whatever you love, try to share. Probably a lot of other mainstream audience loved it too. And if say like it's very specific to your culture and identity, I do think it'll be good as it is, because the mainstream who doesn't know can actually try it out. Like, for an example, kind of like people would go crazy about Japaguri. It's like combining Japagiri and Naguri after watching Parasite, the movie. So yeah, something what you're interested in, I think that'll be nice.
Thank you so much for sharing this inspiring insights and advice. And we are excited to see what's your next.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Gangan, for this opportunity. And I thank you for listening. And I hope you all become a great filmmakers as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.